So I'd like you to start by, and you were born here, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if you could introduce yourself and when were you born?
My name is Margaret Hiskey. Actually, it's Margaret Hadley Hiskey. I was born Margaret Grace Hadley, January 26, 1950. I remember Dad talking about the day I was born. Mom was in the hospital. I was supposed to come home a day, but it was so cold, the pipes were frozen, and he had to thaw out the pipes before he could even bring Mom home. So, or bring and me. So it was a very cold, cold day in January when I was born.
And your parents were born in town?
My dad was born in Star. His parents were Arthur and Grace Hadley. His mother was a Pickard. They'd all come out from, they were, actually, let me rephrase that. I have to pause for a thought here. His grandparents came out from Kansas. And I think, Dad was born here. Sorry. I had to think about that for a minute. His dad was Arthur Hadley. His parents were Mattie and William Hadley.
So what brought your great-grandparents out here?
They came out to establish, they came with the Kansas yearly meeting for the Friends, and they came out to help establish a church here in Star. Actually, it was up on New Hope, which is, and then they moved the church down into Star at a later date. And so they came, and I think my grandpa Walter was a pastor there part of the time. And so then my dad and his two sisters, Aunt Lucille and Catherine, were born. And then, oh goodness, now what do you want me to say? I've kind of lost my thought. So pause for station identification.
Your grandfather was part-time pastor, so...
Yeah, he was a part-time pastor there, and they went to church. I found a diary that I'd forgotten. My dad had two sisters, Lucille and them, but let's see, let me think. Can we stop for a minute? Let me think my thoughts. I was trying to remember. Dear, you're going to have to help me.
Were you chasing after?
I don't know. It's a rabbit hole. Let's see. Arthur. Okay, Arthur and Pearl. Okay, back to here. I'm sorry. William Hadley and Mattie had my dad, Harold, his dad, Arthur, Pearl, and Arlene. And they all came out with them, and then Grandpa married Grace Pickard, and then Dad and Harold, my dad Harold, and then Lucille and Catherine were born. Okay, there we go. Did I get that?
Indeed. So they use I'm losing my train of thought here.
Sorry, I got something going here.
So, what did your parents do here in town?
Well, I know my parents, my dad farmed. He's farmed all my life, as far as I know. He milked cows. He raised chickens at one point in time. And I remember helping clean the eggs down in the basement and weighing them and selling them to, I don't remember who it was they sold them to. But I know they sold the eggs. And then Dad milked and he farmed. And he had 80 acres that he farmed.
Did you all candle the eggs?
We did. We had to look to make sure there's the double yolks and yeah. I was pretty young. I remember going down there and helping Mom and then weighing them actually sometimes. I don't know why, but we did. So, and then Dad farmed. So he farmed until I guess he kind of retired. My brother took over the farm, Warren. But whenever Warren would go out and bale hay at night, Dad would go out there with him because if he had a problem, even in his 80s, 90s, he was out there checking on him, making sure everything went good. So,
Did you have other siblings?
I had a sister, Jeanette, a brother, Melvin, Floyd, and Warren. My sister married and lived in Boise. She worked in Boise. My oldest brother, Melvin, he farmed for several years, and he farmed Mylander's place, which would be where the brick house is now. But then he decided to become a fireman. That farming wasn't good for him at that point in time, so he became a fireman. And then my middle brother was a mechanic, and then my youngest brother, he ended up farming. At the end of it all, he ended up sold the farm. So, yeah.
Did your family raise? You mentioned chickens and dairy. Did you raise crops?
They raised. Yeah, Dad was really good at raising hay and grain and corn, whatever was good at the time. Yeah.
So what did you kids, you and your siblings, do on the farm?
Well, of course, we always helped out. I always liked to be out in the barn helping Dad milk the cows. My mother didn't like that very well because I was quite a tomboy. But yeah, I always tried to help Dad. I fed the calves and did different things like that. Helped with that because I also drove a tractor when they were hauling hay. I remember I was in the second grade, and the Big M, I was trying to drive it one time out there, and a bale fell down, and I could not. I was standing up on the clutch. I couldn't push the clutch in. I was so small. They had to run around and stop it, so we ran over the bale of hay. But yeah, I drove derrick. They used derricks back then, and I used to put them up on the haystack and get them down when the haystack got tall, and that was always I always enjoyed that. It was always fun. So I guess I kind of worked around there part of the time.
What did you do for fun when you were growing up?
Well, I always wanted a horse, so I always rode a stick broom around. Got pretty good at that. Finally, when I was in high school, my dad did get me a horse, so I was able to ride. So we did fun things. We went to church, of course. We had friends, youth, growing up in church, and we did parties and did fun things together. Also, when I was in high school, they had a Youth for Christ program that was going in Boise, and so when I was in high school, we attended that quite a bit. Had quite a group of us there. That was always a fun deal. And my brother and I used to do different things. They had a group that they did crazy, funny stuff at Youth for Christ. And I helped do a movie in Ann Morrison Park one time. I don't think you could do that now. But we did a little Hasty Harry type fun. It was just I was Nurse Kumquat. And So we did a lot of fun things growing up, and did a lot of things together.
Was Youth for Christ, was that also a Friends program?
No, I don't. It was
It was a
kind.
national program.
It was a national
Friend of
program.
mine's father was head of that. That's
Yeah.
why I know that.
Yeah. It was just, and they had it, I think, once a month, every Saturday, on a Saturday that we went to. And at that time, Don Wilson was in charge of that, and he was a great Christian man. And so it was, I think that's where my husband and I went a few times together, didn't we? We went to that together. So, yeah. So.
When we talked on the phone, you mentioned, of course, the Friends Church in New Hope moving here, but you mentioned that the community here also established other Friends communities in the area.
That's where my one paper talks about. I've got it here. I was trying to remember that. I know I think they established the quarterly meeting, not the monthly meeting, but they established the quarterly meetings, and I think there was the Boise quarterly meeting and the Greenleaf quarterly meeting, and I think Star, when they decided, I don't remember all of the time frames, I'm sorry, they established the Greenleaf, and then Star stayed in the Boise quarterly meeting area. So which that included probably Boise Friends, Whitney Friends, and Star. Homedale? No, not Homedale. Melba, maybe. I know there was a Melba Friends mentioned eventually. But yeah, they did do that, helped to get Friends going, established here.
I know in reading about the history of Star, the Friends community played a significant role in the early history of Star. Did your grandparents ever talk about that?
I don't remember them talking about it so much as I remember my dad talking about when they moved the old church from New Hope down to where it was and where the church is now. They moved it in stages. Trying to remember here. They decided to move it in 1911. And that committee, that was kind of interesting. There was a lot of people. Sylvanus Hallworth, J.W. Jones, William Hadley, Sanford Pickering, he was a pastor, Baker Reed, Arthur Hadley, and Owen Roberts. These are names I've heard, but I don't know all of them. And so they figured out how much it would cost to move it. And in November, the committee reported, and they decided then to move it. So it was moved by horsepower. And during the winter of 1911 and 12, and was parked between New Hope and Star for a time during the cold weather and bad roads. By June 1912, the building was located on the property of the present church and was ready to use and was rededicated. So I remember there was a place on Star Road when they put this highway up Star Road. My dad talked about that. He says, we're going to have a problem here because there was a bog in the road. And sure enough, they did have a problem because when they moved the church got stuck, the horse, and they had to sit there a few days and then got it worked out. But it was kind of interesting. But they always had church every Sunday, wherever it was stopped. So they always continued with that. So let's see. And then they went on to, they purchased a parsonage for the pastor, and then they eventually built a parsonage, which the original parsonage is back behind the church now, which they rebuilt. So they built that at for $1,600 in 1925. And it was completed in 1926. So, and then but anyway, let's see what else I have here.
I wondered, where did you go to school?
I went to school at Star Elementary. I went to junior high at Eagle, and then I graduated from high school in Meridian.
Okay, and there used to be a high school in Star?
There used to be a Star High School. Dad and his sisters graduated from Star High School. I was looking at, Dad graduated in 1931 from Star High School. Dad served on many boards. He served on the Foothill Ditch Board, and he served on the Cemetery Board, Star Cemetery Board, for many years. And he served, I remember him telling me he served on the school district board when they decided to send the people from Star to Meridian High School. He said there was quite a bit of controversy about that when it happened, but apparently the cost and everything, it was deemed that it was the best thing for him to do. So, and I have no idea what year that was.
So, when you went to Eagle and Meridian, how did you get to school?
Well, the bus picked me up at home, and then we came down to where Star Elementary is now, switch buses, took me up to Eagle or Meridian, whichever direction you were going. So we went by school bus.
Didn't the high school close in the 40s?
It very well may have. I think it did.
Was because
I think 1940, you're probably right.
sometime early 40s.
Yeah.
Because my husband went there too, and he just plain quit. He just didn't
Yeah.
go to school.
Yeah, I remember the old lunchroom. We used to eat in the old lunchroom, and they tore that down and they built the gym when I was in grade school. And they had the gym and cafeteria.
I know by the time we moved up on Chinden, I was, I think, the 8th grade. And it wasn't too long after that it closed, because I finished up at Middleton instead of going
To Meridian. Yeah,
because I'd gone to Middleton from 7th grade.
yeah. So that makes sense. Yeah, the ones you had a choice.
So
But
it's in the 40s, so.
yeah, well, Dad graduated in 31, so that makes that about right, I think. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Did you, let's see, well, your dad also owned the local hardware store.
My grandfather owned it. My grandfather owned that, and then he sold it.
And that was Hadley Hardware?
Hadley Hardware. And I think Aunt Pearl's son, Merle Reed, worked there, and I'm not sure if Calvin did or not, but I know Merle did work there. So I had cousins that worked, yeah.
Was the hardware store still around when you were growing up?
No, Grandpa sold it, and he died when I was a year old. So he had sold it to, I believe it was Art Holland, and I think it burnt down shortly after that. I'm not sure all the time frames, but I think it burned after Grandpa died. Because he died in 51, and I think it burned after that. I'm not sure quite all the time frames.
Let's see, being a small community, you pretty much knew everybody here, and I imagine you
much.
had a pretty sizable group of friends going to school that you hung out with. What kind of activities were you involved in? I mean, in school or during the summer?
I pretty much stayed home during the summer. Most of my activities were like going to church stuff and doing the Youth for Christ thing when I was growing up, and I didn't do sports or anything like that. But I did. I think in the high school, I always, of course, went to the football games and different things like that. Helped out with that. My cousin Barbara Scott. She was a year ahead of me. We did a lot of things together. We used to ride horses together and did things like that. And,
Did you ever come into town and go roller skating, or? So I know that was a big activity at the gym.
well, we roller skated at the roller drome in Nampa. They had a roller drome there. They had a church night, and we would go to that when I was a kid. I remember growing up roller skating there, and all through grade school, junior high, and high school. In fact, that's where I met my husband, was at the roller skating rink. So I guess we've been roller skating ever since. But
Working on the farm and with horses, were you ever involved in 4-H or FFA?
no, I wasn't. Our daughters were. We got them involved in the 4-H. They with horses, and our oldest, when we got going with that, my oldest daughter wanted to do FFA. She was in high school, so she did FFA and 4-H together. So that was, so our kids did that. No, my brothers did FFA, but I didn't so much.
Having your kids involved in it, what did that mean for you?
Work. They did really well. It was a time that of growing and learning responsibilities, and our particular 4-H group that we were in, we called it the Floating Feather 4-H group. We tried to not only teach them how to take care of their horses and stuff, but it also governmental things. When we do elections, we tried to, let them give speeches on who was going to do best and do this and that. So we did a lot of learning, and they had to give speeches, and that was a really growing thing for them, learning different things that. Of course, they had to give their demonstrations, but they also did some state 4-H things as well. So that was all, made it that far.
Came with the Nationals.
And what was it they were doing? We went to the Nationals, but what were we doing? Horse judging. Yeah, we helped take the kids to that. So yeah, they were involved in that. We tried to get them involved in that.
And rode and trained their own horses.
Yeah, so they had a lot of fun doing that. So
Where did you get the horses from?
we got our horses from Neil Hink. Neil Hink, he was a former, used to live in Star, had horses, and he helped the girls with these in their horses, and so. Yeah, and actually we bought them from another person, but he helped them with that. So, yeah.
So while you were doing that, you were also, you're a wife and mother, but you're also working.
Sometimes, yep, I did.
So where did you work?
I went to work to begin with for the school district Boise School District, and I worked there for a year, and then I talked with Butch, and he hired me to go to work at the Star Merc in the fall of 1979. So, and I worked there till February of this year.
So, I mean, the Merc, the things I've been hearing out, the Merc, the post office, right now I'm drawing a blank on some others.
Agnes Reynoldson ran the post office, which was right behind. She did that until they moved it, I think. Didn't she? No, there was another gal that did it. Agnes Reynoldson, Agnes Davis Reynoldson, I think that's what it was.
Sybil's
And Sybil had it first, right?
hip here.
Yeah, Sybil had it, Sybil Rudisil, and then Agnes took over, and then Kay, oh, I can't remember Kay's last name.
Helmick.
Helmick,
Helmick.
Kay Helmick, yeah.
But these are the kind of places, the cafes, places where people hung out. You'd see people all day long that you knew from town.
Yeah, I did. You got to know people. I always tried to learn people's names by the check. Well, they used to write checks then. Now you can't do that because they don't write checks much anymore. But I used to learn their names so I could call them by name when they came in rather than, who are you? Tried to make them my friend. So yeah, and I cashiered. I did that.
What was your favorite thing about working at the Merc?
What was my favorite thing? I think it was meeting the people and interchanging with them, and also the changes over the years, because when I started there, we used the old cash registers, the push button cash registers, and then when they brought in the sales tax, I had to put that in. It was, the old punch the button and get the total. And then the drawer would pop open. But then the changeover from that to the computers was quite a challenge, but it was really nice to have that happen. And went through that with them and learned that. I didn't even know how to run a computer. And so my daughter had one when she was in college, so I went to her house and played games so I could learn to run the mouse and do all that stuff so I could actually run the computer for the store. So it was kind of fun. Of course, it was a fun time. So, and meeting all the people. Of course, they're all new to me now because I not out front so much, or wasn't out front so much. But.
So you moved off the register to do other work?
I did a lot of the pricing, helping with the pricing of the vendors and getting the price changes down from Associated, and worked with some of the vendors and different things on pricing and bringing product in. So I was tried to be more in the back rather than in the front.
Did you, and I'm going to say as a couple, but after you got married, what kind of, it's kind of an awkward question, I'm not sure how to phrase it, but like what did you do socially?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Work.
We worked and raised our kids. Kids' activities. That's a really good question.
Two of the girls played volleyball at school.
Yeah, so we had, the girls were doing sports and different things. So yeah, we were busy all the time. All the time. Volleyball. Our middle daughter decided one year she was going to play every sport available to girls. And so she played volleyball, basketball, and track. And so that was about a really busy year when she decided to do that. So it was fun. It was fun. It was an accomplishment for her. And a couple of them played in the band as well. Well, all three of them did. All three of them played in the band, but they had to make a decision. I think Sandy continued with the band, most of them had to make decisions. They couldn't do sports and band at the same time, so they made decisions sometimes to play sports rather than do the band. So it's good though. It was fun times.
How has Star changed since you?
I no longer live here. It's awful. I'm sorry to say, they are planting houses rather than farmland. So Dad's place is totally gone. It's all houses. And you can't even tell where we used to live because they've cut the hill down. So it's just totally changed. And I hope it hasn't changed so much that the roots and the and the life I grew up with have gone, because it was really good, a good life.
Good place to raise a family.
It was. I can't say that now, but we just didn't like the closeness to look out and see house tops instead of farmland. It's hard.
What do you miss most?
What do I miss most in Star on that? It would be the farmland and the community. I think the community's changed. I don't think there's the probably the love for each other that maybe there is to some degree in some areas, but it's not the same community as it used to be. You can't just go up and knock on somebody's door and say hi because they're going to think you might have a gun or something, but it's not so easy anymore.
What is your favorite memory growing up here?
There's a lot of them. Family get-togethers. I think I miss that the most. It was fun. The family was always did a lot of things together. I remember years ago we used to meet the big family, the big family, the extended cousins and everything. We used to get together at Christmas time. I miss that. But I think I miss that part of it.
What kind of things did you do when you get together?
Oh, just talk and yak. I don't know that we did any games. Well, we played games too, I think. We used to do things like that. And just eat good food. So, and the kids always played. I know when we'd go to Grandma's and everybody was looking for their kids, I'd just stand out the door and whistle, and everybody's heads would pop up where they were and come to the house. It's time to go. We got to go in.
Growing up, did you have gatherings like that with your cousins?
Yeah, we did. We did a lot.
So you were the ones running around?
We were our kids were running around.
But I mean, when you were little.
We were the kids running around. Yeah, we'd meet at Grandma's, and we did a lot of crazy things.
What kind of games did you play?
Oh, you would ask that. I don't know. We just ran around outside. I'm playing all kinds of games, I think, outside. I don't know that we set up volleyball or anything like that. We did badminton, different crazy things. Yeah, just a lot of eating. Food was a good thing.
Do you have a lot of family still in the area?
I think most of the family have moved. I think they're in Washington. I have 2 brothers still here in the valley. And cousins around, the Mylanders, and A lot of the Wilhites are gone. There's only Aunt Catherine's boy, youngest boy, Dave, is my age. He's the only one. I can't remember where all they at. We did have a family get-together, kind of the cousins, the last couple years at Dave's place over on Beacon Light. The Mylanders and the Wilhites and the Hadleys. That was fun. We did that.
Well, I have an Airbnb north of Eagle.
So it was really a fun. Has a big barn where we can have a barbecue and get together and visit. Yeah. So there's not as many of us as there used to be.
Living here, was there a season that you enjoyed? I mean, a particular season you...
Oh, I liked getting out in the summertime and helping. That was when they were haying and doing stuff. I was always busy helping Dad doing that stuff, yeah. I'd say the summertime.
She helped her mom cook.
Oh, yeah. My mom taught me how to cook meals for hay crews. I'd forgot about that. Thank you, dear. Yeah, she did, because that's how I learned to cook a meal. When you started the meat, when you started the potatoes, when you started the vegetables, so it all came out at the right time. So, yeah, that was a challenge, but my mother did teach me to do that. And she fed a lot of hay crews when I was growing up. Because they didn't have the stack wagons then. They did it all by hand. They had the tractor in the wagon, and the guys walked out and threw them up on the wagon, and another guy stacked it, and so, yeah.
So a lot of folks working on the farm when you were haying.
Yep, we did. A lot of the neighbors worked together on that. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, that was the time to learn to cook, was when you had hay crews.
And not just small meals.
No, it was big meals. Big meals, because you got guys working, high school guys working, and they had to eat. And yeah.
Night both.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
I said noon and night.
Oh, yeah.
Noon and
2
night,
meals a
both.
day.
Yeah, yeah. I remember the noon meals mostly, but yeah. And the table spread out with all the food, and everybody ate. Yeah. Yeah.
One of the strongest memories people have is scent memory, smelling things. That connects immediately to some memory. Do you have favorite smells?
Fresh smell of cut hay.
Kind of had a feeling.
Yes.
What do you think of when you think of that smell?
Oh, somebody's farming. I just love that. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody's farming. And where we're at now, we can still smell that cut hay. There are people still cutting hay. So.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Gotta drive for miles.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Yeah.
You drive for miles here.
Yeah. We do drive ways.
Was the New Hope Cemetery part of the Friends? The New Hope Cemetery down here?
Down here, the Star Cemetery?
Yeah. On New Hope Road?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think there's family buried there, but I think that's always, as far as I've known, that was the Star Cemetery. There's a lot of stuff.
Was there anything, I don't know, maybe some big news stories or anything around talk of the town?
The
things
talk
that
of the
hap-
town?
Other kids getting into mischief that you know of? Any fun stories of Star,
Oh, goodness, around town. I guess I was probably too young for all of that stuff. I don't know of any news things going on then.
One of the Stevens got drunk or something, shot the town up once, didn't he?
Yeah, but that's Delbert's story, probably. It was his uncle, I think. Yeah. Oh, goodness. I think I led a pretty sheltered life, mostly. I don't think, other than my brothers driving their car, and wasn't one of the boys fell off. They're riding on the running board and fell off and skinned up his knee really bad. Remember Mom getting mad at, that's not newsworthy, but I think I was pretty sheltered. I do remember, and I can't remember, Mr. Talbot, and this is not newsworthy particularly.
I'm trying to think.
Harry
His name.
Talbot. He had a team of horses, and he would come and buy hay from Dad. And I just loved it when he would let me ride up on the wagon with him. He'd stop at the house, I'd get on the wagon, and then he'd drive the team of horses in and get hay, and then he'd drop me back off at the house. Yeah, but that was, I remember Harry Talbot. He lived down here on the river, and he'd bring his horses up out there. And
What was he? He was a judger's. What
you know,
was
that I do not know. That
he
I
was something here. And
Harry Talbot. And there was a Winkle. Wasn't there a Winkle that did electrical work?
I think so.
Were there events in town, parades, the fireman's ball? I think there was a hunter's breakfast, things like that.
That wasn't started till,
Okay.
that was started till
Yeah,
Much later.
much later.
much
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
That started when my Tracy was fired.
Yeah, that's been, I was married in
Well,
high school, yeah,
20s.
yeah.
Curly used to have the big 4th of July barbecue.
Yeah, they used to do that for the employee. Yeah, they used to do that till it snowed on the 4th of July.
They started having parades.
Town got too
The
big.
parades were later.
Later, too. Yeah, a lot of that was later.
She did have an exciting deal. Pretty near got run over on her bicycle. and
Oh,
she
well,
was-
yeah, that was when we, I did. That was Shorty Wilmot. Do you remember Shorty Wilmot? When we lived up on the 2-story house when I was growing up, Sam Cousins lived across the way,
Yeah.
and our driveways were directly just across from each other. And it was a dirt road, gravel road then. And I would get on my bike and I would race back and forth over to their driveway, turn around, come back, race over there. And I just did that all the time. I just had something to do. I guess that was part of my entertainment, was riding my bike. And Shorty lived, about a quarter mile up north in Walter Lee's old place. I think it's still standing. It's still out there, that house. And he always was a speedy driver. And he took off out of their driveway, and he came roaring down. Of course, just as I went across the driveway, he came. I hit my brakes and slid around, and he ran over the back tire of my bike. That's how close it came. So I got up, and Shorty just about slowed down after that. But the dust from that just was for hours out there from him trying to get stopped. So I just picked up my bike and went back and went out to help Dad feed. And he goes, he saw the whole thing from where he was. And scared him to death, I'm sure. I was trying to remember now what he said to me. He said, "Did you have a little problem?" Something like that. So then I had to tell him, of course, my bike, how was I going to explain my bike was all bent up? But yeah, I did have an experience like that. That was part of my entertainment, was riding my bike.
Did you have phone service growing up?
Party lines.
What was that like?
Well, I don't remember what our ring was, but I know Grandma's was like 2 shorts and a long or something like that. So it was interesting because when I spent time with Grandma, if somebody else's phone would ring, Grandma would go over and pick up the phone, and very carefully push the button so she to let it up very carefully so they wouldn't hear her go, picking it up. So she had to listen. It was a gossip thing then. So she could hear what was going on. And invariably, her clock would go off. Ding, ding, and slam the phone down. So yeah, it was always interesting. Yeah, Grandma did do that a lot. It was fun. But
Then did you have a party line phone at your house as well?
I think we did. Yeah, we did. I think it was like 2 or 3 parties. I don't remember that for sure. But then it got so I think we had a private line, so it got improved as I got older. I just remember Grandma having fun with that.
So she knew what was going on, at least with everybody that
Yes,
was...
she did. She did. At least the people on that line, which was probably, I don't know who all was on that line, though. I don't remember, but I know she knew the ring, and she knew whether she wanted to listen in or not. So.
Now I know that there's a barber shop in town, and I think there's a beauty shop or
Oh
something.
yes, I heard there was a beauty
I don't
salon.
know. Did you ever go there or do anything there?
Ted McCabe cut my hair when I was a kid. He was a barber. I hated it because I had to go to the barber to get my hair cut. But yeah, Ted McCabe was the barber. So I always went down and get my bangs cut.
When you were older, did you go to the beauty salon?
Oh yeah, we went to the one in Boise, went to the schools and different ones. I think when Judy, yeah, when our friend, when we were married, and we attended, Judy Carr had a beauty shop there, yeah. But yeah, it was a barber shop when I was growing up.
And the problem was that barbershop guys, that's not where you wanted to get
That's
your
not
hair.
where I wanted to get my hair cut. I wanted to get my hair cut at a beauty shop, but he was close, and that's where I had to go. He did fine, I'm sure, but I just didn't think it was fun.
Judy got her shop going. They had some weird experiences too.
What? Oh,
Judy playing with your-
Judy and I, yeah, at church, we did skits at church. We were doing a fall roundup. I don't know if Jane remembers that, but we used to have the community thing, have people come, did a fall roundup, and we were doing advertising, and I did Hasty Harry one time, and not Hasty Harry, sorry, that was wrong. What was his name? The guy that did the old man. I did the old man, borrowed my dad's sweater and paid an old man, and I'm a-coming. Did that. But Judy and I did, she being a beautician, she had to cut my hair, and we were all dolled up doing this crazy skit. And she put little things in my hair. So when she was up there, she was cutting my hair and throwing this hair everywhere, and people go, "Oh, she's cutting her hair," but it wasn't. It was just little implant stuff. It was fun. We did a lot of crazy things like that, but we had fun. So I guess a lot of my memories are with church because we did a lot of fun things.
So this fall event was through church.
Yep. And we opened it up to the community, and they'd come. We had a lot of fun.
The meetings that you had at the barn.
Oh, the camp meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was growing up, when I was young, and I think even in high school, I remember they had the campgrounds, the camp meetings.
Charlene Phillips,
Yeah.
Stillwell.
Went, yeah. And that was at the campground, what they call the Star Barn now, or the Community Fellowship. It used to be a campground, and they had the benches. It was with the, I think it was the Community of the Nazarenes, Assembly of God, the Friends Church, and I can't remember all of them, but anyway, they bought the ground over there and they built the building, and they said there was 11 buildings, and we used to have meals there because they'd have week-long meetings.
Yeah.
And they used to serve meals over there, and the floors were made of sawdust, and I remember the kid playing in the sawdust, and had all the speakers growing up there. And I'm not sure when that ended. They finally, I don't know when that was, it in the 70s, 80s?
85 maybe.
85 maybe it ended. But they had speakers coming in from all over.
So this is like, may not be exactly right, but like tent revivals. You have different tents set for
Well,
the
no,
different-
it was just in the barn, or the tabernacle they called it then. Now they call it the barn. But yeah, and it opened out. It would get really hot, and I remember sitting there smelling the egg farm sometimes when it was really hot. That was kind of a challenge sometimes, but especially it was really hot because it was like in July, and it would be pretty warm. But always enjoyed going there, doing that.
What kind of things would you do there? I'm assuming you were helping the Friends church.
Actually, not necessarily when I was in high school. I think they had their groups that did it, that helped with offering and different things like that. But I just attended pretty much. So I always kind of enjoyed that camp meeting.
Did you guys live pretty close to the Merc or the Mercantile?
About a mile? A mile.
And so, I guess how often would you go there, as a kid? Because I'm guessing they had penny candy or different types of candy.
Well, I didn't get to go down there till I started driving, and I'd always try to get Mom to let me go to the store and get stuff for her, then which it was fine. And then after I met him, then he drove school bus for Greenleaf Academy, so he would stop by, and my mom was really sneaky about not letting me go sometimes. She knew what I was doing. But yeah, I'd always, Mom, do you need something at the store? She knew what I was up to. But yeah, I did. I'd go get grocery shopping for Mom. So, but not as a little kid. It was too far to go. Mom wouldn't let me go do that. And Bruce Morehouse worked there for years. He was a quiet man, sweet man. Did the pricing with the little pricing guns, the stamp ones.
Yeah, the rubber pad.
Yeah. He worked for the Merc for years too, stocking shelves. I always remember him. He was a sweet, sweet man. I don't remember where he lived, but over on.
Across from Willis's.
Oh, that's right. Okay. That's right. That's right. So,
Is there anything we didn't cover that you'd like people to know about?
I don't know. Probably, but it's too late now. No, I don't. I'm sure I'll think of things later, but hopefully I shared what you wanted me to share. I tried to.
Margaret, Hank Day told us that when
You don't want to believe anything Hank says.
You're not the first person to say that.
So that's why I want to get this straight. When that's some of the when the Friends came, they put the church in the city, in the town, but their farms were outside the city, because that's where the acreage was. Is that right? Is that
Probably.
Okay.
Probably.
So that was the start of Star,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they came from South Dakota and Iowa,
Kansas.
Kansas.
The Kansas yearly meeting sent them out,
Oh, okay.
but they were just a part. There was other families that came. You know, the Hallworths and the. There were several. The Joneses. There were several families
Several
that.
families.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. This little history thing kind of helps explain
Good,
a lot
good.
of it.
Thank you for copying it for me. Thank
Yeah.
you. I think that's important. And that might be why it's a kind community. It's
Yeah.
because of these early settlers.
Yeah, my sister and my oldest brother got married in the old church. They were married in the old church. Sam and I were the first couple to be married in the new built church, in the brick church there now.
Wow.
And Dave and Linda Wellhite were the second couple married.
When
And
was,
Dave was a cousin.
okay, when was the brick church? When did that go up?
1967 and 68.
Okay.
So the two of you have been married for over 50 years.
Yeah, 54 this May.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we're the oldies.
My wife and I in December celebrated 50. So
It's a
I know what a
landmark.
milestone that
It's
is.
great.
Yeah.
It's great. It's rare these days.
45.
45.
Yeah.
My husband's been gone 27 years.
It's hard to believe that, Jane. He was a sweet man too.
Pardon?
He was a sweet man too. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you both for your time. Oh, go ahead.
Say one of the
Million
things
thanks for
Just-
coming down.
Just you.
we're kind of proud of, it does not too much to do with that, but our youngest daughter was a member of the Snake River Stampeders
Oh,
nightlight drill team for a lot of years. That was
Oh,
an interesting time.
oh, that's right. Forgot about that. Yeah.
It's
So
kind of
she's the one that took the horses seriously.
She did.
oh yeah,
She did.
she's quite a horseman.
She's a good horseman. But yeah, she rode in that. That was one of the things after
And her niece,
after
her
high
brother's-
school, after college, into college.
Her brother's daughter was Miss Rodeo Idaho in 95.
Yeah.
What's your daughter's name?
Jamie, our youngest daughter, Jamie. We had Sandy, Sherry, and Jamie. Sandy's the oldest, and Sherry, and then Jamie. So, and Jamie also was the only one of our kids to graduate from Eagle High School the first year Eagle started. They did the split. So she wanted to do FFA. Eagle High did not have FFA. So she went to both. She went to Meridian for FFA and for agriculture, and the ag program, and then went to Eagle for the rest of her
She's
stuff.
valedictorian too.
Oh, well, yeah,
Oh,
no big deal.
that's a-
No, it is.
it is.
She would say, "Don't talk about me." Yeah.
Both my granddaughters have graduated from Meridian. My kids graduated from McCall Donnelly.
Yeah, our grandkids graduated from, two of them, Sandy's two kids graduated from Middleton, and Sherry's kids, Nampa, at Columbia High School. Still have a grandson graduating this year, so. Yeah, I guess she did have some accomplishments in that area, but the Snake River Stampeders isn't a big deal, I guess, but it was fun to watch. It's fun to watch.
It is. You don't just ride out there cold. You have to do a lot of rehearsals.
They do a
and
lot
stuff.
of rehearsals because they're riding in the dark.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They're riding in the dark
Pretty spectacular.
with their lights on, the Christmas light.
Up high, looks like a kaleidoscope sort of.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And they're the only drill team that's ever been to the national final drill year.
Yeah, so that's just tidbit news.
It's pretty impressive, actually. I've seen it. So
Have you?
I've been to the rodeo a few times. It's pretty spectacular.
When
Yeah.
the Winter Olympics were at Salt Lake, they went down.
Yeah,
and rode
Jamie
the
went to that.
rodeo there too.
And that was really dark in there. They didn't have any light. You know, they usually put the lights around the arena so they can see. And it was really dark in there when they closed it up and down there in Salt Lake.
Yeah, kind of funny, one of the girls got sick,
Oh,
wasn't able to ride, so one of the
husbands.
husbands of the gals, he'd practiced with them, somebody didn't show up, so he was kind of familiar with the pattern. Had a beard, so he shaved that off. And if it was dark, nobody'd know. So he rode with them one night there at down there.
Down at the Salt Lake at the
And,
Olympics.
the wires shorted out right at the tail end. The wires caught fire. So as they were exiting the arena,
He
trying
was
to pull the wires
getting the wires
battery,
off to get it.
trying
It
to
was
get off
burning
the
him.
battery, put the fire out.
Yeah, they used battery packs for their lights.
Later, got
Yeah.
one of the board
They're
members for the road stampede.
Much improved now, but when they started out with them, it was
It was your daughters in the Stampede or your granddaughter?
our daughter, our youngest daughter. She did it for, 10, 12 years?
I don't know, quite a while.
Yeah,
One of the longest riders.
yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing so much of your time and the stories. Do appreciate that.
And for coming down, thanks.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You
Thank
made the
you so
drive over.
much.
Her brother
We're
raised
truly
hogs, too,
grateful.
for quite a while.
Yeah,